What's good, everybody? And welcome back to another reaction video. And tonight we're gonna do something scary. Finally, we're back with horror stories, and these are just true scary stories. And it's Mr. Nightmare's latest, only about 3 days ago. I know I'm 3 days late because I was busy, but hey, at least I'm back at it. So I got some popcorn and I got some DP, Dr. Pepper. So let's go. Cause after this, I'm gonna be watching a movie marathon maybe. Anyway, let's go. I ain't gonna pause. No point.
This happened in October 2019. My friends and I were in the military at the time, stationed in Colorado. We heard about this haunted road called Riverdale Road from one of our friends that was originally from Colorado. There were several different legends about the road, like stories about a ghost jogger tapping on people's windows, bloody handprints on road signs, Native American shapeshifters, ghostly hitchhikers. The list really goes on.
Uh,
The legend that matters for this story.
Remember Interstate 4 being haunted? Yeah, I
Legend
know
goes
that.
that a guy crashed on the road back in like the 60s or 70s as he was going too fast down the road, which has a lot of twists and turns on it. And now he haunts the road trying to race people to their death. Anyway, my friend said he's been there several times, but nothing ever happened. With it being October now, the rest of my friends and I really wanted to go so that we could maybe experience something spooky. So we all went super late on a Sunday night, like 1 in the morning. So it was technically Monday morning, I guess. Anyway, there were 5 of us, to include myself, all in one car. My friend, who was a Colorado native, said he went to high school with a guy who died on the road, and the guy had to cross somewhere along the road. So since a couple of the guys were me anyway, we all pulled over with a crossbow so that they could go off to pee somewhere while the rest of us looked at the cross. It was extremely dark outside and completely quiet outside of no footsteps in the grass and the words we exchanged. We were only standing outside for a couple minutes tops, before literally out of nowhere, this car races around the bend of the road and drives past us.
Oh,
One of my friends made a joke. Oh, it must be the Camaro. We all laughed, but as the car completely passed us, we saw that
man,
the
the
tail lights
Mustang
were
would
indeed that of the Camaro.
also.
At that moment, all of us scrambled back into the car, and by the time we were all inside and beginning to drive away, the Camaro was right behind us, following us.
Car that turned around. This is fucking wild.
Oh, we got footage too.
Oh my god. You guys scared? Stop, he died, dude.
It matched the description of the legend perfectly. It was an old black Camaro with a busted headlight. My friend who was driving was freaking out, and rightfully
Oh
so.
my god, I'm so
He told him to
speechless.
just drive the speed limit, because the legend says if you try to speed, then you die. So we went the speed limit for the rest of the road with this Camaro riding our ass. It was so close to us. The quote-unquote driver of the Camaro even turned off the headlights, which was really weird considering how dark it was outside, and they could have easily hit us without being able to see. As soon as we reached the end of what was considered Riverdale Road, and were about to turn off of it, the Camaro stopped and turned around and started back in the other direction. Now, I don't know if the Phantom Camaro is real or if the legend is based off some crazy person. It was just weird how the car literally came out of nowhere. It was so silent outside. It would have been coming far sooner than when it came around the corner of the road. Plus, what kind of person would be out on this rural road at 1 in the morning on a Monday night? I don't know. I personally believe in the paranormal, so I think it was a ghost. But I try not to push my beliefs onto other people.
Oh my god, this is crazy. And they had footage of it. Hold up, man. I hate these ads. But, yo, they even had footage of these stores, man.
My name is Ben. This happened back in 2007 up in the high desert in California. Around this time, Highway 138 was under long-term construction.
True.
I lived in a town called Felon, where everything was spread so far apart it would take 15 to 20 minutes just to get to the nearest gas station or food joint. I went to high school up there and was a senior with a longtime girlfriend. She lived in Wrightwood, which was a long drive from my house that meant crossing 2 highways. My mother would work long, tiring shifts and would sleep when she got home, so asking her was out. Instead, I would hitch a ride on my girlfriend's bus to her house after school, usually on Fridays since no school the next day. Getting home was the issue, though, as there was 15 miles between our houses, and I would be walking. I had done the walk so many times I learned secret pathways down the mountain through the desert that would cut my walk by an hour, though it usually meant being in the middle of nowhere. But the scariest thing to happen to me wasn't necessarily in the lonely desert, but in the street. I was dumb and lazy and would sometimes hitchhike. I usually got picked up by parents of schoolmates who recognized me or something, but not often. One day I was walking. It was around 6 p.m. I believe, as the sun was fading, and a man named Charlie pulled up in a big red van. He asked if I wanted a ride, and I said sure. As soon as I got in, something was wrong. He was twitchy and looked abnormally thin. His cheeks were sucked in and looked exhausted but wired. He stared at me for a long time. By the time I realized I was uncomfortable, the van was already moving down Highway 2. He talked a lot, mentioning that he had a friend named Carlos. He talked about Carlos a lot, and asked questions I couldn't possibly answer, like if I knew him, or if I liked his house and if he treats me well. I told him I don't know a Carlos. I realized at this point he wasn't
I know about 5 of them.
38. Normally when someone takes me,
I'm honest
they go
about
down
that.
Highway 2 to Highway 138. It was literally the only route you could take without going through the desert. When I asked about it, he told me too many cars are held up because of the construction, and he knew a quicker route through the desert. He actually pulled through the route I usually took on foot. My heart sank. I was about to end up alone in the desert with him. He continued to talk about Carlos as I searched for something to hold on to. I found a small screwdriver in his passenger door compartment and tucked it in my hand. He mentioned that I should meet Carlos, and that he could get me a lot of money. I assured him I wasn't interested, but it was like he didn't hear me. He told me he was going to take me to meet him.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I told him I was fine.
I got the
High
hiccups.
school and didn't need to make money. I looked outside and realized I knew the area. There were a few houses in this part of the desert, just randomly thrown here and there. I've walked past them before. He veered downward and was further away on its own. I knew he was going to take me there no matter what I said. He drove right through the open gate and parked. I heard endless howling of dogs as he pulled up and told me to get out to meet Carlos. I was scared. I could hear my breathing getting louder. I considered attacking him then, but I panicked. He got out, and I saw the full form that was Charlie. He was tall, at least 6'3", and definitely was tripping on something. He wobbled like a child trying to stand. He went around and opened my door, then started to yell. The house was
Yes.
a two-story house.
Authority me.
For a desert house, it was clean and crisp, not the scary, rundown places you'd imagine.
Rest of Emmy. Pause.
An average height guy came out. He was older, maybe in his 60s. He had white facial hair and a shaved head. He looked at me and didn't look away as he told Charlie to go inside. And he did. Carlos asked me what I wanted, and I said to go home, that he was giving me a ride. He stared at me and pointed to the gate and said to leave. I did. I walked to the gate. As soon as I felt safe, I ran. I didn't stop. As soon as I could, I called the police on my prepaid Nokia and told them everything. I still walked home and sat on my bed. I was stunned and didn't know what to do.
Oh, he made it
Police
home.
never contacted me after that day. I didn't tell my mom or girlfriend. I didn't want them giving me grief for it. After all of it, I still took the bus to see her, but I made sure I had a secure ride home after, or at least learn the public bus schedules. And I never hitchhiked again, but I still remember how hard my heart was beating, and how scared I was walking home.
On life, I would never hitchhike with anybody. Never hitchhike.
When I was 12, I had what I believe was the last sleepover of my life. It was at my friend Nick's grandma's house. She had a very old-fashioned house that, looking back at now, kind of gives me the creeps thinking about. I've been over to it a couple times, but never slept over. His grandma had a spare bedroom with 2 twin beds, which is why it seemed perfect for a sleepover.
It's like a
Also,
hotel.
was park connected to the backyard where we played hide and seek during the day. As it got darker out, his grandma called us back inside for dinner. She needed linguine and clam sauce. We begged her to let us go back outside after eating to play flashlight tag in the dark. She eventually allowed it. Since her backyard basically
I miss those days.
the only barrier being a bunch of trees and no fence, the game area ranged from the backyard to a certain point in the park, past the trees. We started the game with it being my turn as the seeker. Basically, I just had to find Nick and aim my flashlight at him, and that would be considered catching him. I counted down from 30 to give him time to hide. Then I left his grandma's house through the back door to begin looking. I checked some of the obvious immediate hiding spots, like under the tables, behind the chairs, by the shed. It seemed the backyard was clear so far. I heard cracks coming from the direction of the trees in front of the park. I shined my light over into the woods, revealing someone tall, covered from head to toe in what appeared to be a giant sheath. As my light lit up the figure, they turned to face me. I could tell because I could see 2 eye holes and a small mouth hole. What in the world was I looking at? I called out Nick's name, asking if that was him. Though I didn't have any idea where he could have gotten that sheet all of a sudden.
Alright, it's time to go in.
I wonder about that though, because Nick came out of the trees, yelling at me to run inside the house.
There you go, run.
It was under that sheet.
Get inside.
He rushed to tell his grandma, whose response was to lock all the doors. She comforted us, telling us we're safe inside. However, later that night, when the 2 of us were in the spare bedroom downstairs, both in our respective beds, laying awake at like midnight just talking, we heard a couple thumps coming from upstairs. We looked at each other and wondered if that could be his grandma, whose bedroom was upstairs after all. I figured that's what it probably was, forgot about it, and eventually fell asleep. The next morning, Nick's grandma knocked on the guest bedroom door and came in. It was like 8 in the morning, and she was asking us which of us opened the window in the other spare bedroom upstairs and let all the cold air in. We said neither of us.
Hold up.
She didn't believe us. So
I know I said I wouldn't pause this video, but guess what? It caught me. It caught me off guard. In this case, I wouldn't have opened any windows at night and leave them open. Because anything or anyone could come inside the house if the windows or door is open. I lock my door at night. I lock everything. Everything is gonna be locked. Despite my phone being locked, and like the electronics, if they had like a passcode or whatever, I'm saying everything's gonna be locked if I'm not using it. Cause who at this time of the year, where I am, would need to open a window at night unless you're a criminal? That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna have to escape, you better go through that window. Screw a door, I'll go through a window. If I had to steal something. Never.
she had us follow her up to the bedroom. She seemed quite angry. She pointed at the wide open window. Still, we said neither of us did. Then she went to the bed and asked, "What's this?" She picked up a dirty-looking, crumpled-up sheet thrown on the bed. She smelled it and was taken aback by its apparently horrible smell. I said, "Wait," and asked her to lay the sheet flat on the bed. She did so, and that's when I saw the 3 holes in the sheet, the eye holes and the mouth hole. That's when Nick and I knew and told her about the person in the trees under the sheet. She immediately had us leave the house with her to go next door, where she called the police. When the police showed up, 2 of them searched the house while my grandma stayed out front with a 3rd police officer. There was nobody found inside the house, but the method of entry was very easy to figure out. Whoever it was jumped off a railing in the backyard onto the awning, where they were able to easily open the window and climb in.
I told you.
Nothing appeared to be stolen or broken. Thank God I didn't have to stay there another night, nor did Nick. In fact, his parents had his grandma stay with them for a few days just in case. I think the scariest part would be worrying that whoever it was...
No, I'm staying home.
That the police might have overlooked their hiding spot.
Not the grandma place. I'm going back home and I'm staying home. Alright, so those are 3 horror stories. I know I tried my best not to pause it, but I only did that one time. That was only one time. Alright, so that was my reaction to 3 true stories, and I didn't like try to catch up. I just gonna go straight to the latest. So hey, you can also maybe check out my scary story reactions because I have to catch up on them. And please follow me on Twitter and subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. And I'm gonna try my best to at least get one reaction or a gameplay of Call of Duty Mobile because I'm already at the 10th season and I'm on hardcore mode, and that means I have a chance to be in a tournament. But anyway, see ya.